Kicho Nampa, Janchu Bayu, Daki Kapsushi, Daki Chunin, Kife Sonaki, Drola Penshir Sangye, Druha Sho.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How was your weekday? Very busy.
Too many problems, Vishnu.
Today, how you fix?
I ignore Vishnu.
Just forget problems, okay? Yeah, anyway, weather's nice. It's comes and goes anyway. Anyway, this is a nice song. This is making people happy to our ear. We had 1 week, we heard very bad things. They just forget now. Right? We heard a lot of things, we say a lot of things, we see a lot of bad things, Therefore we purify all the ears, mouth, eyes, eye consciousness.
Five sense consciousness.
Five sense consciousness. They kill a lot of samsara activities. Then we just today forget, don't come inside the doors. Anyway, we are fortunate persons. Everybody have some idea, some think what is the positive actions, what is the negative actions. We think we do something. Even many beings just live there. Many human beings doesn't think what is positive actions, what is negative actions. It's better that some part from them. You think about what's good, what's bad. We walk all over that. Actually, even single small box, bad box. It's not a bad box. I know bad box, lot.
Oh.
Sugar.
Lots.
You guys know lice?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know here not exist a lice.
No.
Oh, really?
Children.
They get them in daycare.
Really?
Learn something camp.
The life started in West and came to the East.
Really?
To my bad, not true at all.
Anyway, I was, kid. We had hundreds, millions lice in here, all day long. Hundreds, or clothes. We not see that people saw just all the lice, little lice, small lice. Sometimes we don't feel to they eat because they always eat. Anyway, even that small lice, small bed bugs, they need to know some happiness. They don't need to have any sufferings, any problems. But they doesn't know how you create the happiness, how you free from the suffering. That is any idea. Even, of course, the animals, human beings, every single being needs to happiness. But they try to make happiness, but they are not doesn't do right way. Then always the suffering come, problems come. Same as oceans.
Ripples.
Ocean people. They come. Waves. You can see waves come, one come here, then destroy the other one come, other one come. Same as on this. Also, we all over the world, there are a lot of different kind of religions. But they are all religions to benefit all the beings, all sentient beings. They explain to how you create the happiness, how you abide free from the suffering. Being abandoned suffering. There are many different explanations, there are many different ideas, but they all view the point is to we have feel little happiness. Then some religions say, God said with this, if you don't, you against your God's God's teacher. You against God's teaching, then you get suffer. There's some part of religion explain. They taught to you, to stop the cause or condition to sufferings. Our Buddhism belief says that we belong to karma. If you do bad things, then you create some bad cause condition. Then next time you feel that the result, then you call it karma. Many different, many different ways. All the different ideas, different, teachers to try to make your happiness. Right? Even the many years, people think, when we have enough, God said physical things, then people think, then we are happy. We never feel the suffering. But right now, even here, we have also a lot of problems too, financial things like that. But compared to in India, China, Africa, here's full land. When we need to hot water, we get hot water. Cold water, we get cold. We need to temperatures, we need to cold, we put the condition. We need to hot, we turn on the heat. You need to use a car, you get a car. You need a bicycle, you get a bicycle. Physical things here are very easy to find compared to other countries. But maybe people mind happy and unhappy compared to maybe the poor countries and here countries. Maybe here, maybe I'm maybe very better water, maybe less. People more stressed. People always very numbers. Anxious people, always anxious. What happened? Right? You got the thing is, I think that, even the poor countries, they're okay, They have anxiety, they don't talk, Therefore, tenri data shin te chegi ta sem dewa che te na de ta no so ta sem de na ni tu na ni ne se na so ta to ko
So So from these signs and the valid reasons, you can understand that the external material things will not be able to provide actual or real happiness.
Right? 그래서 시탄 등조 그런다 시 실록이 지 하면서 수수 대화 가서 수수 승부에 말하죠. 하면 대화 저도 그랬을 거야. 실록. 실록. 이제 돈이 진짜 써야 돼. 그래야. 등조 그러면서 알아서 대화 대금 망망을 맞고 딱 그 대화 저도 그랬어. 실록. 등재가 손이다 말고 가지고 나도
So actually, in terms of the material things that we have, we should be satisfied or content with that. It's just that we always want to have more and more. We're not satisfied with what we have. Otherwise, from the amount of things that we have around us, we should be content with that. So, for example, in this country, there are so much external facilities, right? So, for example, if a woman were to give birth to a child, in terms of all these cares and so forth, there's no difficulties at all, right? So that you have good hospitals, people to take care of you, and so forth. Like in the countryside, like in Tibet, a village, there's nobody to help, there's no hospital, so she'll be lucky if her husband is around to give her a hand, otherwise sometimes she has to give birth by herself. Whereas here, you have hospitals, you have doctors, the midwives, and even after to help you give birth to a child, and even after the child is born, for weeks, months, or even for years, there's somebody to look after the child, take care of them, and so forth. But in the remote countries like Tibet, there's nobody like that to help. So here you have somebody to help you do your hair, tie your hair, or do your hairs, and put your makeups and so forth. Right?
Even me clean our teeth. I think I clean my teeth. Maybe I never did in India. When I was Tibetan, of course, I did not wash, not to pick. In Tibetan, brush. I was 19 years old, come from Tibetan India. I never brushed my teeth. Right? Even I come to India, then there's you have to brush teeth. I was very bad. We brush teeth. We never go to hospital to check. I just come here 2004. I checked my first. This is correct. Low passy. Sumchi. 그래. 어떤 티바라 게 소소로 소만 있을 거야. 에 야는 거 말까? 일단 되게 매워도 가지고 남겨 봐서.
So when I did my first the tooth check with Ali, that was 2004. That's when I was 34 years old. Until then, I've never checked my teeth.
저들이라는 센시티 된 지금 말았어. that's too bad.
So if you were to do like that, then you would never say, oh, that's too bad. Can I do like that, right? But if we compare your teeth and my teeth, I think it's about the same.
I'm joking. This is even this country has a very
Well, I was going to say that in this country you have all these external facilities to do whatever you want to do. Right?
Lizata nazo ta lumba joda sana tilata tili yo mare de ro.
So and in the poor countries, in the villages, we don't have that facility.
Yena ya ta ge da tili lai bas. Sani tingi mi dam de min jina sembala dewa yemi jina. Asi lumba joda su mi ta jase jado mar da shi chani shi sem koyando kauna tondu su.
So, but if you compare in terms of the mental peace, the inner peace, then I think in the most case, not 100%, but in most case, people with the less external benefits of facilities have more peace of mind.
What tinji ba ta kanji ma shi shi tinji ga na sem de wa che to ma ba ta no se wo re se wo cha de lo.
So this way, it is very clear that the external, the facilities is not able to provide the inner happiness.
양 삼성 치 땅가서 야 돼. 재미들. 알아서 땅가서 강사서 그 손 김대발라. 그래서 강된데 너무 쉬어요. 아니 다 누가 교보다 지나서 주주가라. 제가 내가 돼. 손은 마서리. 제가 지나서 두교래. 땅가서 삼면서.
And then again, it is we might think that whatever the good favorable conditions or the facilities that we have is the result of our good karma, right? Because we created a good karma, created merit, and as a result of that, we're able to enjoy all these facilities. And so, if you are born in the third world country where you don't have all these facilities, then it's your loss. You can say, man, you might think like that.
Some to me, and I was monk, the senior teachers, they come from 1999. 1959, they're very difficult life, very difficult situation. And they, they talk hard sometimes, Well, now you got lucky, we prepare here food, monasteries, just you come to study. And when we were there, you don't understand their language, you don't have enough food, sometimes we think it's just their fault.
It's their loss.
Yeah. And some good, right?
So in the same way, you might think like that also.
Today by that so nambe chu na ma labja kyo to sambala. Ta shi tinje ge several de wa mares na so.
So anyway, in the Buddha's teaching, it says that the external facility will not give the inner happiness.
Deva several deva macho maze shi tinje kang ma de zui ji sem na gang yo de so.
So not only it doesn't give any inner happiness, the more of those things you have, more problems it gives to you.
They can have yours.
Do you accept that?
Very not. Angi pecha. 한 제가 간다. 줄을 맹이 들어라. 줄을 타고 좀 냐고 되고 심지 되어 말았어.
So I'll give you an example. Those of you who don't have jewelry, you don't have the worry of protecting it or keeping it.
줄이 여기서 줄이 데리고 사도 사람이 그래 야사 말하기 심지 어려워.
But those who have jewelries, they have this worry of being stolen, so they always have this difficulty to find a safe place to keep it.
다 되지. 답변아. 그 가티니 요나. 쇼치는 더 되다 보고 쇼치 그거는 쇼치는 양 simply 강에 대화죠. 무슨 이유나?
So and then again another example, if you have two cars, in one way it is very easy for you to hop on it and go around, but on the other hand it is difficult to maintain it.
Better you have bicycle, easy to go, easy to keep. Today when I'm so motor line should tell you, numero uno, the mogo shoot, Nyoni, you might even go to
So you have to spend a lot of money for the car. You have to have insurance, you have to buy gas, and then you have to fix the things when something goes wrong inside, and so forth. So from the second moment of buying car, you have all these problems with things.
I think just she's more relax. She just let to keep that.
We had zip off.
I'm joking. Anyway, today is I got it in a 마음의 충분한 시인든지 강마 대주지 나서 제가 강이 마을 예수 때 다른들은 나서 생각 다시 제가 해줘.
So it is said in this teaching, the more of those things, the external things we have, more problems we get. So whether it is really true or not, we can check ourselves.
다 말을 제가 강 이제 생각 강에 대해 가르쳐서나 생각 강에 생각해 버려서 그런
Then the problems in our mind can be only solved by the mind itself.
거. 대마도 생각 강에 세가 답시 세 마행이지 다 가르쳐도 먼저 요야라고 말했어. 먼저 조야를 갖다 그 조야라고 말했어.
And so the problems of the mind, the mental, the problem is it cannot be solved by something that is not a mind, not mental.
다 원하는 생각에 생각 관리서로나 대세하게 답시다. 다 선을 좀 되게 다 추세 손으로.
So how do we solve the problems of the mind by the mind itself? So for that, Buddha Shakyamuni has taught this teaching of Dharma.
다 간절히라 그러나 아니 저런 강한 면대하게 등하대 저런게 세 마디에 꽝기 아니 저런게 내가 뭐 사람이 다 그런 적 동안이 그래서 그러나 다 저런게 sem 들고
And so the Buddha said, so because of your unruly or unsubdued mind, you created non-virtuous actions, and as a result, then you experience the suffering. So first you have to control your mind or subdue your mind.
다 원하는 다 셈들어나 가리 넣어서나 빼나 다 나가도 공도 사고 차도 사고 세나 사고 해야 돼. 다 세나 사고 제야 말해서 차도 사고 제야 말해서 공도 사고 제야 말. 근데 제나 저렇게 득방 먹고 사고 이 득방은 저 저렇게 먹고 그래서
So what kind of unruly or the unsubdued mind we have is the mind of anger, mind of jealousy, and so forth. So we should not get angry, we should not be jealous. If we do clear those minds, then we'll experience suffering. So therefore we should not generate those minds.
다 원하야 내 차도 공조도 맞아서 대고 매워 제 말아 대가로 생각 안 해야서 참 너무 삼바이나 들어와.
So then again, we might think that how can we get rid of this mind of attachment, anger, arrogance, and so forth, because they are the nature of the mind.
뭐 근데다 대 생각 다 라지만 말해. 생각 다 생각 라지 쉬어 말해서 와.
So anyway, so that those minds are not the nature of the mind.
대 마인베 빼라고 해서 다 가져오구나. 대리 말아서 잘라서 봐야 대리 요하나 맞도 대 차가 주치면 돼 와서.
For example, if we have bought a new thing today, we have very strong attachment towards it, right?
대리 나와 가시. 대리 로카시나 맞도 대라 차고 매로 와서.
And so after some time, after a year or after a month or a year, then the attachment towards that new thing kind of reduces, right? So you become less and less attached to that thing.
대리가 자세야 공로세야 맞아서 저도 생각 라지를 쉬면게 빠는 거.
And so that shows that this mind of attachment that you had very strong at the beginning when the thing was new, is not in the nature of your mind. If it was in the nature of your mind, then it should stay. The attachment should stay strong all the time, but it doesn't. So that shows that it's not the nature of mind.
이제 내가 만수 다 전도도 들어라 잠깐 나온 거야 다 다시 메시버를 와서 나도 배를 나가는데 들어 아무도 싸워 챘네 다 그런 말해 봐야 다 주야를 소비하러 온다 다 들어 잡아 나보셔야 돼.
So sometimes you see your a dirt on your clothes, right? But it's very very rare unless you're doing a construction work. Right? You don't see that dirt on your clothes. Every day you change it, so you don't get a chance.
You always have dirt.
You don't get dirt on your food. I mean on your clothes, but in like in Tibet, once after you buy the clothes, you never wash it until it's kind of torn apart. So then you get all these big dirts on your clothes.
근데 된지가 잡아대 들어도 하는 쇼에 말하다 거기 가라 왔어.
So anyway, so the dirt is not in the nature of the cloth, right? So the dirt and the cloth are separate things.
뭐 된데 빼 대나시기 다 산지가 내차 제단 콘로세에 생겨 아주 쉬워. 대세도 가지 아야 돼. 대세도 가디 제도와나 아니 저랑기 다 때는 대화 누가 상황이 양가 말해서 그거.
And so in the same way, Buddha said that the attachment and the mind, the attachment is not in the nature of the mind. And so this attachment, the anger, jealousy, the pride, and so forth, they all can be separated from the mind. They're not in the nature of the mind, so they can be separated from the mind. And once you separate that, separate them from the mind, then you achieve the everlasting happiness.
What did that wanna? And a control 차도세. 이거 딱 맞아 가르강에 제거서 나 전부 딱 맞아 선보다. 지원 좋아. 양 이 가지고 딱 너무 생각 의세도 강에 제일 말에 동안 땡 말 선보를 왔어.
So some people might not understand that these minds, that mind of attachment, mind of anger, mind of jealousy, and so forth, don't give rise to suffering. So they might wonder, how do they give rise to suffering?
배차잖아. control 가서 차와야 누가 뭐 저기도 저기도.
So for example, the more anger you have, that much more suffering you feel also. Do you experience that, or do you feel that?
차도 가서 차야나 수수 셈도 강에 다 마요.
And so in the same way, the more jealousy you have, the more problem there is to your mind.
그래서 나도 용어를 듣다 수수 나도 다시 제거 봐.
So whether that's true or not, we check it by ourselves.
아니 차바 가서 쳐. 뒤에 저거 수수로 가서 강에 제거 봐.
In the same way, the more attachment you have, more suffering we experience also.
뭐 근데 나 산지가 준소도 셈이 가가래. 단단 나도 냠도 다 잔을 줘도 그 가가래. 세월에 해서. 어때 가디 가지는 나는 저랑 다 때도 되고 도구를 해서 말이야.
So right now we carry them together with our mind all the time, the attachment, anger, and so forth. We carry them with our mind all the time. So Buddha said you have to separate those from your mind, and when you do that, then you will achieve the everlasting happiness.
다 들리다. 들리 내 자체도 공로 가서 망하듯이 다 듣바 망서 그래. 듣바서는 팀적으로 중요한 거야.
And so the more of these deluded minds, the mind of attachment, mind of anger, and so forth you have, and then more negative karma or negative actions you will create, and so as a result of these negative actions, then you will experience sufferings.
오케이. 그래서 다 들리는 것도 다 듣바샤베 같은 데 봐. 듣바샤베 왔다.
And so therefore, whatever non-virtues or the bad karmas that we have created in the past, and so we should purify before interacting with the form of suffering. So this is where we come to now, right? This text talking about the confession of the sins.
다 가다가도 때에서 쉬자에 봐서. 시라마와세 시라마베 실을 찍어야 다 듣바 나야 요 말이야. 다 손이 왔어.
So last time we talked a little bit about the Vaibhashika tenet, where it says that there are some kind of non-virtuous actions that cannot be purified at all.
이제다 시라마베 불라 다치면 더 해야 봤어.
So in that tenet, according to the view of the Vaibhashika school, there is a way to achieve a state of arhatship, right, or fall destroyers.
이제 시라마베 양샘 용모다 남 잡아나 다치면 더 개나이로 봤어.
So you achieve liberation. And so when you achieve liberation, that is when you have separated your mind from the delusions.
이제 다 딜로라 디나잖아. 시라마베라 마다와 소사지 찍도 하다 넌 가도 왔어. 진짜 배인 나는 거 왔어.
And so then, in the text where it says that, where it says that you cannot purify some kind of non-virtuous action, then it kind of contradicts with what their view is, right?
와. 이제 이번에 다 되게 된다 소들 무슨 해 들어와. 내차 따고 돼. 싸마지네. 내차 뭐 많이 받아 줘야 말이야. 그렇지.
So what he's saying is that the mind of attachment is a mind of attachment, right? So the mind of attachment cannot become a non-mind of attachment.
되게 내자들 빠는 내자들이 샘크랑 매워잖아. 샘크랑 매워서요. 와서.
So if you want to abandon it, then you have to get rid of it. So you have to get rid of the whole mind.
대타가러 왔어. 제어하러 내처 마음이 뭐 제어하러 왔어.
And so that's true, right? You cannot change the mind of attachment to become a non-mind of attachment.
니를라 당다 지레 빠 메세는 두스를 다스. 내처의 샘도 크가 제어만 나고 말았어. 내처도 빠 요마도 나고 말았어.
So
내처 뭐 많이 봐. 제어요 말했어.
the mind of attachment, it's not saying that you can't abandon the mind of attachment. It's just saying that you can't you can't change the mind of attachment to become a mind of non-attachment.
그러다가 가서 빼서 안 받아 놓고 수야로 달아 있는 달 넣어잖아. 그 수야 많이 바꾸고 줘야 말. 그럼 내가 진 달달 그러면 다 정도 와서 어디로 그렇게
So, the example I gave you last time is similar to black cause. So when it's black, it's in its nature. So no matter how much you rub or wash it, it will never turn white. It will still remain black.
근데 세상 단지별로 직발에 시간별로 직발에 직발에 말해서
So that is the same in both Vaibhashika and Prasangika Madhava's tenet.
나서 다르고 왔는데 저한테 말이 제일 말해줘. 나도 손 거들어가서.
So can the attachment be changed to non-attachment? What do you think?
You already said no.
대한
That's my belief, but what do you think?
야, 이게 남들 나야면 수수성 나와서.
No, you cannot just say, I said it. You have to accept it.
Can you subdue your mind so that you don't experience the attachment?
So the same dude,
대열했어.
yeah, that's possible. You can subdue
So
your
is
mind.
that changing it to non-attachment?
근데 더 많이 읽어 말했어.
나도 샘 그런 대처 말아가지고 걔네가 왔어. 샘 대처 말아왔어. 수강생들
So generally, the mind itself is not attachment, right? Can you accept
그는
it?
걔네가 왔어. 내 걔네 봐야자. 대처 세대 샘 최시 이름을 샘 그런 말고 지 말아왔어. 이렇게 말아왔어.
So attachment is a kind of mind. It's not a mind itself, right? So you accept that.
근데 이제 샘들 순서만 근데 대처 때 매봐서 올라가 그러고.
And so that kind of mind, so but it's within the mind, right? The attachment is within the mind. And so when you subdue the mind, that means you separate your mind from the attachment.
근데 이제 샘 되어서 말라 대처도 추리지 않니? 아니 대처도 다 샘들 저 상황이 나오는 소도 그러고.
So when you subdue your mind, you lessen the attachment, less and less, you make it less and less, and then eventually get rid of it completely. So that's what we call it. The mind is completely subdued.
근데 이제 그샘 대처 많이 받쳐서 말이야. 대처 많이 받쳐서 말이야. 대처 그런 샘도 그같이 다 매워서 줘. 이거
So the mind is not like becoming non-attachment. The attachment is not becoming non-attachment, but you're separating the mind, separating the attachment from the mind.
그리고 내가 먼저 둘러 주니 잡아. 잡아 주니까 잡아 매워서 있네. 그러니까 둘러만 하야 된다. 뒤에 둘러 다 잡아가 매워서 잡아.
So like when you wash a dirty cloth, you separate the dirt from the cloth. You don't, the cloth remains, but you separate the dirt from the cloth.
근데 이제 다들 잡아야 되는 거 걸어다. 잡아 많이 못 쳐서 나 여러 가지.
So what happened to the dirt? It just got rid of it. It is there, right? It didn't become non-dirt. It's no longer staining the cloth, but it didn't become non-dirt. Did it become non-dirt?
계산이 나를 알아봐. 그래서 가지
Something to think about, right?
야, this is a little thing. That's something we have to think. 근데 이제 가지 맞이 단 뒤를 매서야 돼. 가지 대처 그런 대처 많이 봐. 더 소야 말해더라고요.
So in the same way, when you abandon attachment, you remove the attachment from your mind. So that's what it means when you say abandon. You cannot make the attachment to become non-attachment.
그래서 and this sim Javan, you want to try Martinani, judgment to a mass, and no one was.
So that's why when the Babashka said, can abandon that, that means, what it means is that you cannot change the attachment to become non-attachment. And they're not saying that you cannot remove the attachment from the mind. That's not what they're saying. If they're saying that, then we can say, can't you achieve state of arhat or liberation? And in order to do so, don't you have to remove the attachment from your mind?
And the judgment of the Jakaricumers. Judgment goal was that numerous, then you don't know.
So we say it's the state of fall destroyer. So the fall destroyer is the one who have destroyed the fall. So what's the fall?
Then they came
It's the
to
delusion, right? The enemy, the fall. Is what? It's delusion, right? The attachment. So you understand that, right? So that's what it means, the fall destroyers.
다 단지불라 나에 대해 다 직발에 가서 애들이 샘데레스 유모데레스 이 카레스 전 제가 봤어 그러고
And so according to Pabongka Tenley, it is saying, when it says that you can abandon, that means this is attachment, this is mind, and you remove this attachment from the mind.
단다 아주 샘 진짜 샘이라서 회사 와 말이야 샘이라서 처음에 뭐지 와 말이야 옛날에 샘 용어가 들었는데 좀 대용어도 가디 정말잖아 아니 너도다 상하게 라춤이라서 도도로.
And so the nature of the mind is a clear light. The nature of the mind is clear light. So temporarily it is kind of stained or obscured by delusions. So when you have separated these delusions from your actual nature of the mind, then that's when you achieve state of arhat.
근데 지금 보세요. 나도 짜기 보세요. 말이 뭔데 마치 끊는데 와서 나서 나는 맞으세요. 대가 아니 짜기. 그래. 자와는 막 수대에서 대체에 당하는 생각도 집안 동거에 말이죠. 이런 말이 뭐지 끊는데.
So Lam-rim said, we are, the samsaric beings who are caught in the cage of the self-grasping ignorance, and then completely ignored, and then completely in the darkness. We are completely wrapped by the darkness of ignorance and so forth.
Okay. 어떻게 이봐자 다 된지 다 가는 통해서 대연배가 그걸야 아니 다 몽골을 저기 시에트는 거 송화레스 들도스.
So here we have the Babashka, Nagarjuna's quote from the letter to a friend.
대신 이제 밤에 다 눈말아야지. 밤에 다 지 가지 뭐지 누좀 뭐뭐 재워야나 시에 약보 재워야나 아니 다 누부터 차니까 내가 도와야지. 나와대 좀 올라 파트나 고 넘다와 도움을 도와서 좀 다이나 아니 다음에 가서 자동 도와도 와서.
So to prove that it can be separated, right? You can separate the mind from the delusion. Then probably which I quoted from a letter to a friend by Nagarjuna, where it says, "Whoever was once reckless may later become scrupulous. They are then as calmly as the cloudless moon, just like Nanda, Angulimala, Ajatashatru, and Shankara."
어디 빼나스 어떻게 다 디바데 샤야 가만 배웠어야 되죠.
And so therefore these negativities, the delusions and negativities can be purified.
아니 개파 뭐 디바에 보셔 신이지나 디바 최후에 지나 그 디바데 주주야 보셔야 돼서 디바에 보셔 미신이지나 디바 주주야 지나 됐다 그 디바 아니 쳔보시 나자로 해서 또
Yes, so also it is been said that the heavy sins of a skillful are very light. The slightest sins of a fool is heavy. In other words, the determining factor is whether one is skilled or not at expiating one sin. So the Brahman Sankara is skilled in all. Anyway, so these are the examples here.
빼자는 것도 미실라 약간이 미니라 간이 채통 10번 쳐봐 있나요? 뭐 생각하려고 지 그냥 보러나 그 강에 대해서 안 맞지기. 무슨 도보진다 다 강에 때 휴체도 다 생각하는 마음을 용도 와서 무슨 휴체죠.
And so even like in the case of two person experiencing the same kind of a dilemma or problem, but one taking it easy. If you take it easy with a calm mind, then the problem doesn't seem to be so big. But other person, if he's so much worried and very stressed and thinking about the problem all the time, then the problem seems to become bigger and bigger for that person. So even though they're going through the same kind of problem. That's possible, right? That happens among us, right?
Do I see? 이제 자, 대파체도 대파충사야 되다 그래. 샤파시들은 케미컬 다 처음에 그래서 와.
So whether it becomes the big sin or light sin, it depends on how skillful you are in purifying those negative ones.
와. 아니 빼다잖아. 정세 대시해야 돼. 그 아니 파세 말을 마세 말을 참여해시 말을. 아니 세모처마데 뭐 그냥 고거세서 말을. 아니 잡아 마시라서 거는 거 파세 맥스밀레이션아. 다 시에서 공주 대화. 다 자주면 도와드리. 또 용화에 말해서 와. 사실 좀 되는 것들이 용화를.
So that's an example here. The Brahman Shankara, who killed his own mother, and Gulimala, who killed 999 people, and Ajada Shatru, who executed his own father. And yet, after they had committed these heinous crimes, they were able to see the truth because of their fervent confessions.
Compare for them, we don't kill any human being, right? Compared to them. No, we don't kill any negatives. Even also, you guys never kill any animals. I was killed, I killed all small birds. When we go to always, same place to kill the cows, yaks, we see the small darts, the little birds. Then you want to see how to do it. We check the eggs. The cow does we go, what time do you walk, check inside. And cow, you want to check again, you want to check one. Sometimes they inside almost to cut the region.
So the egg, almost hatching. So it's to see that whether there's a bird inside there or not. So they break it.
Then you put back then the mother doesn't, check out when they die. Well, I kill all this stuff. Company, you guys maybe doesn't kill any single. Some of you guys might kill. Today is but I'm the dinner. I don't think about some else. Somebody was when say me that Jimmy Pat 7 months 7 or what.
So compared to these guys, like Brahman, Shankara, and so forth, compared to them, our negative actions, negative actions created by us seems like not at all, nothing at all, right? So even though they created so much heavy negative karmas, yet they achieved instead of aha, right? They achieved liberation. And on the other hand, even though we haven't created any of these negative karmas, heavy negative karmas, we're still back in samsara. Why is that? It's not like Buddha Shaitan is being biased, right? Leading them first and leaving us behind. So that depends whether one is skilled at expiating one's sins or not, purifying one's negative karmas or not. So because they purified, they were skilled in that, they purified, therefore they achieved steady hardship. And we, even though we didn't create very heavy negative karmas, but we didn't purify our light karmas, even the light karmas, therefore we are still back in samsara.
What is that? Don't change. 야보셔나 아니 디박톱제사나 싸워는 다르바 아니 제이로셔나 아니 야드르바 타마제나야 따데 인저데 가서 인주용 폐하면 어떻게 하고 있어요?
And so then there are many different ways of confession. So if the confession is done very strongly, then that can purify completely. If it's done in the middling, the negative karmas become light, it becomes less. Then even if you do a very a strong the least strong practice in purification, then at least that stops the negative karma from increasing. But if you don't purify it at all, not even the lightest form of compassion, then it keeps on increasing. The negative karma just keeps on increasing. For example, killing a lamb is a light sin, but if you do not expiate it or purify it, then after 15 days, the sin is, let's say, 16,384 times stronger.
Where did you get this number from?
Calculation.
Based on what?
Consider So I don't know how you get it, but usually it says that if you create non-virtuous action, if you don't purify that, then next day it becomes 2, next day 4, next day 8, 16, 32, like that. It keeps on increasing. So you can see, I don't know if it reaches 16,000 in 15 days. Huh?
He's trying to math.
Compound interest.
So, I mean, anyway, so then because it increases, so therefore it's important to purify, or at least make it to not increase it by doing the lightest practice of purification. And then the best is, of course, don't create it at all. So then, at some point, it has become about the same as killing a human being. So the killing of life, laws, reaches to the amount of killing a human being. And so we do not want to purify the negative karmas or not afraid of the sins, and it's because of not having enough faith in the karmic law of cause and effect. So if we have a very strong faith or believe that we're going to experience suffering as a result of this negative karma, then of course we don't want to experience that and we'll purify that. And so, but if we don't have a strong faith or believe in the karma, then we might think, I don't know if I will experience suffering as a result of this negative karma. I don't know if it will happen or not. So because we don't have that, therefore we don't strive to purify those negative karmas. So you should not think that it's only talking about bad things. So if we talk about bad, then it helps to not engage in the bad actions. So if we talk about breaking the laws, then we do not tend to break laws, right? So therefore we should not create non-virtuous actions at all, and even the slightest, even the small ones. Don't tell even a small lies, or don't steal even a small things and so forth. So don't even create a very small negative karmas.
And George Pena, permanent, and you but you the Shiwana cut to Tano, not shower. Shadow, on the shadow parts of it, that should change shower. You but the Shua Tano, and you must. You but shower is a rest very big.
And so Lamadisha used to purify the negative karmas right away. So even if he engages in a very small misdeeds or non-virtuous actions, he will confess and purify them right away. He will not leave it, for many days without purifying.
아니 나중에 세상 디파샤지요 삼성 그래 나야 다 디파샤들라 마스메다 한국 샤워
So we might think that I should purify negative karma, but because of not even knowing that we're creating non-virtuous actions, doing this and that, we don't know that we're creating non-virtuous actions, so we don't then purify those non-virtuous actions.
이제 다 셔트다 나들 와 다나네 남라에서 다 쇼케는 만도 치다나 아니 다 먹기와 죄 와서 아니 리가 예수기다 나서 너서 로다 너도 아니 그래서 여탄 봐서지 너서지 나는 저기 와서 가지 이제는 그 와서 막는 게 왔어 아니 이제는 그 와서 와서 이거 와서.
But if we think of our actions in detail, from the early morning till night, what do we do? What do we do with our body? What do we do with our speech? What do we do with our mind? Are we talking with our speech? Are we talking bad thing about other people? Are we engaging in idle gossiping or not? Are we having any harmful intentions or not, and so forth. So if we think about that, then we'll see throughout the day how much non-virtuous actions we really create.
다 라도 시원하고 다 반바세도 파샤죠. 다들 침벌대 심하고 대만의 라마 아니 예시 다 차방방지 막고요. 그래서
So it says that again also we may be ordained, for example, in leaving aside any major vows we may have broken it, but also we not only break our other vows with the frequency of raindrops in such cloudbursts, but also say that this does not harm.
대만의 추자는 나도 샤답하고 막고 대나서 같은 것도 양금 정도로
So the monks create non-virtuous actions, just even like the small non-virtuous actions, even by not wearing the robes properly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have a question about confession. If you can share what do we mean by confession? Because it seems very specific rather than just saying purifying.
내가 싶었어. 내가 저 다시.
It means to destroy it, destroy the the negative karma.
맞아, 맞아. 대파지 제다. 아주 콘도지 사는 대파지 제거서. 콘도는 대파지 제거서.
So, for example, like when you get angry, you create non-virtuous action.
된지 그 대파도 마셔는 다 당기라 봐. 진짜 도저히 안 보는 거 바로 들어왔어.
And so, if you don't purify that, the non-virtuous action, then it will increase from 1 to like 100,000.
근데 시아스는 다 내가 적어요. 내가 적다는 것도 또 시대 이거.
So the confession, so to confess it and then to purify it. So to confess it, it will tell you the technique for purifying the negative karma. There are 4 opponent powers. 4 powers. You have to apply the practice of the 4 powers in order to be able to. In confession, like this, you confess or you accept that you have created non-virtuous action, and you develop strong sense of regret towards that, and so forth. And then with that, then you engage in the practice, and that actually purifies the negative karma. So that it will come later about how to confess and how to purify and so forth.
내가 괜히 원하는 거 참아가 괜히 막 자고를 배워서 참 꼭다마 배워서 그랬어.
So, like for example, if you have dirt in the house here, then you trash and you remove it. How do you remove it? You remove it by sweeping or by vacuuming and so forth.
During that they don't have vacuum, they don't use the vacuum. They also 참 나도 배워야 돼. 야가로서 다 정말 참아 맞춰서.
Yeah, so you sweep it with broom.
다 티가올라 가마도 vacuum 되면 야다 vacuum 제고 된다고 그러지. 다 제도 커버 왔어.
빙상다 가서 장마선들에서 하면 참아 있잖아요.
몇 금씩 지어서
장마선 제가.
보다 간지 그 뒤도 때리고 다 간지 도 담아서 배워서 그래서
So anyway, you remove the dirt.
정말
Whatever
가지고
way you apply, it's just the purpose is to remove the dirt.
정말 가지고 땅으로 코로에서는 샘을 가야 다 무게가 돼서 잘 셔. 대샘 됐다 정말 제고 그랬어.
So anyway, so this dirt here is the non-virtuous action in your mind. So mind is filled with the dirt of the non-virtuous actions, and so you have to sweep or purify those non-virtuous actions.
오케이. 다도 얼마 이래요. 되지 다 어디 다 대만에 다 나눠서 지금 남지 왕하고 보시고 와서 샹테제 자동.
And also, anyway, so then right now here we're talking about how we create non-virtuous actions, right? And how, even though we don't think that we create non-virtuous, but if we keep, look in details, that we keep on, we create non-virtuous actions all the time. So, like some people, they take vows or initiations, right? And then when you take initiations, you take the bodhisattva vows, the tantric vows, and so forth.
안에 담아도 지금 라주 개념 개설 개모 관련했다 때 소소소소 다 맞아 이거 was.
And then the ordained people, they have the full ordination, the novice ordination, the monk ordination, and so forth. So those different vows, right?
그거 그냥 개념이나 맞아 나요 was.
And then the lay vows, the lay vows, also the 5 lay vows, right?
안에 맞아 소중 대발에는 나는 마치 맞아 개는 싶어요 was.
And then if we take the precepts, like the 8 minor precepts, then there are 8 vows to keep, right?
아주 대리게 동바들 딸 속에서 개는 제대로 다 속고 대마도는 이봐 좀 그래서.
So we promise to keep those vows. If we don't keep them, that's negative karma. Then just by not keeping it or by breaking it, we create non-virtuous actions.
이 동바들 소마에나 계속 다 자주 통해 속 개와 쉬우서 그래서.
But if you were to be able to keep them purely, properly, then of course there's great benefit. Then you create virtuous actions 100, thousands, a million times more.
안에 개노로에나 아니 개노파라 안에 춤 이장하지 마세요 지금 그래서.
So if it's a fully ordained monk, then there are like 253 vows.
아니 다 개노 마르고나 다 텔레폰하고 그래서.
The fully ordained nun have even more.
어디 다 들이 그때 라주스에 마시 다 라주스 다 가서 또 주동을 도와가지고 라주스 내려와서 다 지금 맞아 개념도 말해야 되는 거예요 가시고.
And so those are for the monks, right? So since there are not many monks or nuns in the audience, so you don't have to really worry about that. But you have lay vows, right? You've taken lay vows.
딱 가서 장관 개념도 막 그래서 나도 다 맞아 렌도 그거서.
And so His Holiness gave lay vows, right? So many of you took who went there, right?
근데 빠는 것도 빠면 더 깨야 나는 이제 대집 제거도 넣었고.
So those vows, if you were to able to keep, if you want to keep it, you can keep them, right? You can abandon like killing, stealing, or adultery, and so forth. So all those things you can abandon if you want.
근데 거기서 give very compassion to Western religion coordinator alcohol they say. Really?
4.5.
Yeah. When you go to some party, you have to learn, you have to shift, you accompany that. A little bit. 뭐든지 다 나도 지금 다 가디나 나도 지금 원하고 신한테 다 샹송에 도발행기로 와서 대라니 샹송부터 이제 시주세요 그래서.
And so if you take initiation, you receive the bodhisattva vows. There are 46 bodhisattva vows.
아니 샹송에 자외 동안 좁제세요 좁제세.
And there are 18 root vows.
아니 다
root vows.
아니 다 나오면 나와갈 아니 나오 본고 집시세요 죽시세요.
And so then there are the tantric vows, right? There are 14 measured vows, tantric vows.
아니 본고 죽시. 어디 자동 집이죠 본고 죽시.
Oh, so the root vows, 14 root vows, and 11 measured vows.
어떻게 되면 나 감수 튜르사이즈 정도 가지고 디보시는 빠지는 튜르는 대화나 맞좀 두서 강가 그래 송 고쳐요.
So like there's the six session Guru Yoga, right? If you do that, there is a prayer for the 6 session Guru Yoga. If you recite that every day, then that kind of covers this practice of keeping all these vows, the practice of keeping all these bodhisattva and tantric vows.
이제다 지금 계속 마음 보시고 지금 등불에서 지금 나 담불에 보시고 딱 걔네들 소마좀 나가면 같이 소소고 이 제대로 맞으면 진짜는 싫어 약보여 그러죠.
So if you have received these tantric initiations, then it is good to recite that 6 session Guru Yoga, whether His Holiness has said to do any commitments or not. It would be good to recite that.
대라야 이제 일단 지도도 지능이 하고 예바 대반이 나고 같이 숨을다 가르치는 데를 와서.
So depending on how much time you have, you can do the extensive one, the middle one, or the short ones. I'm not familiar with the middle one, but I know that there is the extensive one and the short one, so you can do either ones.
Short one maybe you can finish maybe 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. Even maybe just 1 minute.
How you do it in 1 minute?
Yeah, just reach 1 time. 이거는 지나다 놓고도 미국바도 뭐 상담을 다 찍고는 되는 그런 배경으로 왔어.
So it depends on how you do it. You can do it with a extensive visualizations, or you can just recite the words. If you just recite the words, it won't take a long time. So to cover the practice of keeping these vows, you can just recite the words.
Usually we check in our group project 2 hours, right? One time me and some we did together, we finished 5 minutes. You can do short. Relax very short days, right? 어떤지에서 간지 뭐 어떤지 들리기 다 예받아야 나만나만이 심하고 저거를 맞게 분별이 저거 들리다 아 간지 투도 나 뭐 쉬는 이거를 봐 그냥 만족다 뭐 쉬는 만족도 다 지금 우리가 예받으러 와야 돼 투도 뛰기 나 뭐 쉬는 데 그래
들어드는 것 같아서.
그래서 예받지 나만 예받아서 뭐 하지 않아 손 꼽쳐로 가정도 저가하고 있는 가정 투도 좀 내자가는 되게 마음이 꼽쳐로
So anyways, if you do recite this 6 session Guru Yoga, then that covers all this practice of keeping these vows.
어디 이제 다 당나네 다디 버. 다 너도 장가로 잡아야나. 다 내가 손을 쥐어서 다 너무 저거 접사했어.
So if we look into detail, about our actions, our body, speech, and mind, from the early morning from we wake up till we go to sleep, then we can count so many misdeeds and so many negative actions that we have created.
내가 주 장가로 너도 먹겠잖아. 신발 뭐 이제만 관계 하고 그래 봤어. 소소 니마치래. 대제 이게 주고 가를 쉬운데도 모두 따라가 봤어.
And so we don't have to think about all other different kind of misdeeds, just think about the 10 non-virtuous actions. And so see whether you have engaged in any of those 10 non-virtuous actions or not.
아니 마찬가지로 다 노셈 도저시그로.
And so most of the time, like we have those, the covetousness or the envy, and then ill will, harmful intention.
참아도 특성마다 먹는 거라서 제주도 maybe 락서서야.
And we use a lot of harsh words. We use a lot of divisive speech. And the idle gospel is everybody's favorite.
We can talk. Harsh. You guys need to eat.
Twitter.
Chat. 나 소소 대 가르치는 소소상 다음에 제가 초대 챌다 초대 좀 솔직히 제토 같이 심마죠.
So what you have done, you can think about yourself. Nobody can point and say, "Oh, you did this, you did that," and so forth. You can see it yourself what kind of actions you have created.
뭐게 다 도마선 된거니 바로 뭐 사이도 근데나 첨보고 있냐와 지금 얘다 중이 들어 제가 내서 그래서
And so we have created so many non-virtuous actions and so much sins by creating any of these 3 vows, or by creating any of the 10 non-virtuous actions and so forth. So if we have created great, then we have created a cause, and the result, a cause to be born in the lower run, in the hell realm, with the middling, to be born as in a hungry ghost realm, and with the little or small, to be born in the animal.
그래서 이제 그 마치는데 소위 계획 그런 좀 마지막 간도 다른 것도 대봐야 돼. 송화에나 딱 개와야 될 자리 동체 딱 개와 또 더
And so we have all these vows to create and virtue section, intended virtue section, not to break these vows and so forth. So if we break them, then of course there's so much there to come. And if we keep them, if we were to keep them properly, then again, the positive action, right? The virtuous action is hundreds and thousands or million times more.
Otherwise, we talk about the or negative things, then we feel the teachers, Buddha give to for students to be more negative than the first of it.
So if we don't talk about the benefits of keeping the vows, then we might think that Buddha gave all these vows in order to just create no more non-virtuous actions. So, but if you were to keep your vows, then of course you also create a great amount of positive actions, virtuous actions.
근데 다른 어느 게들이 뭐 싸움이어서나 내가 다른 것은 못 써봐 따서 봤더니 집에 와서 봐야나 대체도 뭐세요 맞춰서 따오세요 말해서 이나야 선거 여부나 선거 공주 적응을 했다 기술라 치킨 계속 기술을 게 말이야 저게 더 보여야 다 저는 미디어로 뭐하나 다 이렇게 왔다 지금 싫어해 봐.
So, it says a great sin need not be killing a person and stealing their horse. You could even be calling your pupil a mangy dog, a mangy old dog in a great fit of anger.
근데 둘이었어, 둘이. 뭔가 사실 좀 전에 샤시를 값을 해야. 아니, 이게 또 약간
So there's a story that sometimes they're kind of schism among the sanghas, problems, fight in the sanghas. So at that time, the sanghas would gather together and then solve the problem.
아니 걔네가 개롱소 다 저거 시와 재성하지 다 걔네치 걔네치가 계속
So one time there was this one sangha, asked the other sangha, did the sangha community, solve the problem?
아니 대리 주사와티가 제가 저한테 대개명감자한테 다 노라 봐셔서라고 그랬어. 다 저원감자 개명감자 고배 말했어.
So he said yes, those 500 women, 500 women solved the problem. So instead of calling them sangha, he called them women.
그래서 나 양쪽도 참도 다 재면서 말이야. 산지 좀 전에 야세 샤워를 뒤가로 막 그래 추서사 망아체 깨와이가나 저와이가나 다 변명이지. 무슨 보고 결정하라고 지금에 맨날 맞아야 답이지. 다 너무 송을 봤어.
So it's possible that you may think it in the wrong way. So when Buddha, Shakyamuni or Shantideva gave teaching, so they gave teaching mostly to the male, so in order to avert that attachment towards the women, and then they always mention about all the faults of the women.
근데 이제 다들 그 자외시소에서 다 자원모가 개명밖에 안 나와요. 근데 라베 실 주보들한테 근데 자와가 아니 배매 교환업자는 다 그냥 걸려서 그랬어.
So just by calling them women, 500 women to a 500 sangha, he created a cause. He created a cause to be born as women for 500 lifetimes.
이제 다 배매가 이때 내려려고 하는 거죠. 다 야보러 왔었어.
So women's birth, rebirth, is a higher rebirth, right? So it's good actually, right?
근데 나중에 먹기가 싸 왔는데 대로 배우려서 나도 야한테 같이 가라고 저기 왔어.
But by creating non-virtuous action, how can you be born as how can you be born in the upper world?
Today 콜라야 today 잡아들라 기농압자 제가 내야기 그거를 사실 today let 가지고
So because he has created a karma to be born as a son for 500 lifetimes, and so now that karma changed into being born as a woman for 500 lifetimes.
today let 가지고 살면서 뭐겨 저랬더니 근데 비미죠 레서 나야는 거지.
So that's how it changed. The karma got changed and converted into that karma. Otherwise, it would be contradicting to say that by creating non-virtuous action, you can be born as a woman or in a harem.
어떻게다 어떻게 그 특징을 라플 그래. 다 되어서 내가 근데 다 디파트는 무슨으로 디파트래라고 소리를 봐. 내가 저도 컨트롤 잡고 근데 나한테 이메일 따서 되게 이번 못 사게로 봐.
So this is how simple we can create some of the non-virtuous actions. So out of strong anger, if you do something, say something, it becomes non-virtuous action. So out of great anger, you send out email. There can be non-virtuous actions as well. So we might not think that we're creating non-virtuous action by sending email.
No, there's something called hate mail. In America, we call it hate mail.
아, really?
Yes, yes.
내가 그 컨트롤 잡고 시신다 그 야구 그 붙잡았더니 쟤는 이메일 따가지고 뭐 야구 무슨
So if you send email or hate mail with anger, then that should become non-virtuous action.
내가 같이 그런 컨트롤 잡고 근데 나한테 다 나와서 같이 다 무조건 거기서 와.
And so whatever kind of actions you engage in with the strong anger, motivation of anger, and then it becomes non-virtuous action.
아니 신청하더라 그거한테 봤어. 실력권이 다 맞춰 좀 싸고 그래서 와.
And also if you criticize special beings or objects, then that becomes also non-virtuous actions.
신청하지는 다 가서 손으로 사고 다 들으려고 하는 거라 그래서
And so the special beings or special objects, the objects or beings might depend on which we can create merit is special beings or special objects.
나도 야하를 해서 야하. 딱 그거 때마다 자니 다 잡아서 간가 싶어 둘러먹고 가야 와서 야하는 게 그냥 사실 날고 되는 거지. 이제 다 쳐먹어라 되고. 들려오지는 다 듣고 공부 그냥 들려오면 다 듣고 싸고 있어.
And so sometimes the Indians and they use this harsh word of calling monks a red dog, lalkutta. Sometimes, so because they wear these red robes, red collar robes, and they call them the red dogs. So if just by saying that, they create non-virtuous actions.
Also Sunday day, Rishabala go to the road. The monks walk in the front road. The monk doesn't go to
Sight. Move to sight.
Go to sight. How much they do push that they slowly. Then they get angry. Lalkutta. Ajao. Lalkutta.
Lal Kutta, Hajja Rasta.
Lalkutta. Jao. 아니 다 신청하는 가는 데서 순간에 손을 서고 신 손을 짚고 와는 데가 다 뒤바닥 서고 그래서
So these rickshaws, the people who are riding the rickshaws, and the monks don't move away from the way, and so they will shout the red dogs to get out of the way. And so anyway, so by saying those words, you create non-virtuous actions, even if you say it jokingly or in a playful way.
in India we difficult, my head, monks, the cows go to the road, same road, then we should very difficult to go running.
No pavements.
No walkways.
어떻게 다 대리 찍으려 다 나는 가서 순간에 내가 들어 생각해 다 내는 거 사요. 그래서
So anyway, if we think in that way, then we have created so much negative karmas. Just in one day, we have created so much negative karmas to be born in the hell realm, to be born in the hungry ghost realm, to be born in the animal realms.
원래 다 들어지네. 다 들어는 지대신 냠나 아스파는 된 대샤셔도. 저들이 뭐 오시는 다 같이 오르죠.
So if we have created so much negative karma, then what should we do? We'll stop here with that question.
제 인식은 원할 때 진짜인 냠. 원할 때 진짜인 다 지다신 냠나.
So then you made them be wondering, if that is the case, what can be done?
오케이, 스톱. 일단 이제 일단 나도 지금 일단 뒷배 님손 딱 사제 주는 거 손들어야 돼. 나도 뒷바지라 마셔야 돼. 답시죠. 그래서 지금 지금 하나마다 말해봤어. 에 거를 주시면.
So anyway, so there are these non-virtuous, the results, the suffering results of the non-virtuous actions. So because we don't want to experience these sufferings, therefore we should not create non-virtuous actions. And also Buddha has mentioned again and again to not create those non-virtuous actions. So it's not Buddha is saying that to frighten us, or to scare us. It's just to sting us, telling us so that we will not have to experience any sufferings.
내 소음의 로쇼, 내 마치의 로쇼가 대송한테 다 겨울, 이 겨울 때니 아니 먼저 때는 대마 산지 공부해 도움을 줘.
If you don't create these non-virtuous actions and keep on creating virtuous actions all the time, then eventually we will abandon all the non-virtuous actions and then achieve the state of full enlightenment.
Okay? Do you have any questions? Okay.
I just want to be clear about this before I leave class. It's about the Vaishika view and the Prasangika view, right? And it's
You grab, please.
It's okay. Yeah.
okay. So my question
You could
is
actually challenge if you want.
my thing is that the Vaishikas say that you cannot change attachment to non-attachment or karmic activity, whatever negative karma to positive karma. That's what they say, right? And the Prasangikas say that you can, but the way they but the way they say that you can remove it from the mind and therefore you've changed it. The Prasangikas say you can remove from the mind and therefore you've changed it. But you really can't because with the water, with the clothes and the dirt example. So is that right for me to understand that?
So they're debating on being able to abandon or not. So one said you can purify, one says you cannot purify. So purifying is the word that they use. One said you can purify, you cannot purify. So Prasangika, but they have different explanation to say And the Vaibhashika, why do they say you cannot purify? And Prasangika, you have the explanation why you say you can purify. So you could not purify and purifying. So that's the two different things, right? So, but not about changing or non-changing. There's no debate about that. It's about purifying or not. So when the Vaibhashika said you cannot purify, what it means is that you cannot change. The attachment cannot be changed to non-attachment. The attachment is always attachment. But when you purify, that's what their explanation is. The Vaibhashika said when you say you cannot purify, that means you cannot change from being an attachment to a non-attachment. You cannot change that. But the Prasangika says you can purify, and when it says you can purify, that means it can be removed from your mind.
But not changed.
Not changed. You can be removed from your mind.
그러니까
So that's the example, explanation. There are different explanations.
Okay? You got it?
Got it.
Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Let me finish.